All right, we're going to be installing this Time Sert into this thread right here. This one's already installed here. It's a different size, so what you'll need is a little Time Sert kit. This is a really nice kit. It comes with the drill, the chamfer, a tap, and then the installer for your threads. So first thing we'll need is the drill. Let's grab that. You will also need a drill bit, some thread locker, and either WD-40 or you can use oil. And that should pretty much be everything you're going to need. So I'm going to drill this, try and do it nice and straight. Make sure the drill bit's tight on there. All right, you can put the drill bit away. We no longer need the drill bit. As you can see, the hole, it's beautiful and it's actually nice and straight, which is great. I'm gonna blow off this drill real quick. All right, the next thing that we will need from this kit is the chamfer tool. You'll see it is piloted here. Alright, so you want to go until it basically stops. I also like to, another way to double check it is you want this part of the Time Sert to not stick out. So as you can see here, it is below the surface of this, therefore it is good to go. We can remove the chamfer tool. Clean the chamfer tool because I like to keep things nice and clean. Ow. All right. Next thing we're going to need is the tap. The tap is also nice and clean. You'll get a tool like so, and you'll probably find this in any tap and die set. Simply just get it in there. All right, similar to the last. Now what I would actually like to do, anyway, I had to pause it. Couldn't find a file, but this will file it here. This will just take off any raised edge. Take a microfiber and a light clean, just so that any little raised edge around here is removed. Not necessary, but I like to do it because why not? Why not make it good, right? So the tap, this part you want to keep nice and straight. Just slowly start it, making sure what's most important is that I'm keeping the tap as straight as possible, which appears to be so. And if it is straight in there, this should tap rather easy, which is what this is doing, thankfully. Now, you could put grease or something on the tap if you want to make it a little bit better. I personally For this kind of stuff, I prefer it dry, just because I am going to be putting a thread locker on these taps, or on these threads, as far as the insert that goes in there. So I know it's not tapped all the way down. I am just backing it off. Probably would help if it's centered, right? I am just backing it off so you can see there's a bunch of stuff in there. So all right, cleaned all that out, cleaned up the tool as well. Now we'll go back in here. Again, slow start on the threads. Even though the threads have already started for those, it is really easy to cross thread them, especially with a tap. Now, I actually didn't check to see if the tap went all the way down, but I can tell there's still a few more threads there. It's just starting to get a little bit hard, so when it does that, I like to back it out, get all that crud that you saw in there out. All right, see that? That should have bottomed out there. So one thing we'll do, oh, a little bit too soon on that. Come on. Love it. Of course, it was just that one little tough spot. The rest came right out. Now it does look threaded all the way down, but there was still stuff in there, and sometimes the shavings that are in there can stop this from reaching the bottom. And it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom, but I already have this tool out. I would much rather just make sure everything's nice. Take a few seconds to just re-tap it real quick, or just to double check all the threads on it. This is probably an unnecessary step, but it's really not that unnecessary if you never want to touch it again, which is what I would like to do. Well, I'm never going to touch it again, but the customer is probably also never going to want to touch it again. So I just made the exact same mistake, didn't I? Expecting a different result. Some would call that insane, which by definition would be accurate, technically. So we are going to put the tap back in there. Now it's time for this baby. So you want to put a little bit of oil is probably preferred. I have WD-40 here, and that's fine. So we're now going to take our insert, screw it on there, like so. Now there's some stuff on this bad boy that we're going to take off. We want to make sure there's nothing on these threads, because we're about to insert it in there. I don't need anything on there. Take your red Loctite. This is on the exhaust side, so I'm using red for the high heat. A dab will do you. A lot of people love to just soak their stuff in Loctite. I do not. This is more than enough. I like to take my finger and just go across. As this thread's in here, all this will get smeared throughout the whole thing, and preferably not ooze out into this. So that will be the goal. You want to screw this in by hand. And you can already see the Loctite staying on the outside and spreading around. So those of you who love to just absolutely gorge your threads in Loctite, I mean, do what works for you, but it's not needed. We're going to put this on and just keep spinning it. Right now, this threaded insert is still pretty much flush with this. So all we want to do is get this on there. And right now it's starting to get tight. The thread is starting to pull down. This is getting slightly harder to turn, which is how it should be. You want to keep turning it until it's no longer harder to turn. It's starting to free up now. And we should be able to just back this baby out. And your insert, or Time Sert, will stay in place there. You no longer have aluminum threads here. You have a nice solid steel thread, which is what these are. Very durable sealant there, especially for exhaust studs. This is going on a race car. It'll probably come in and out quite a few times. Now, as you can see, there's no red Loctite oozing out of the top of it. It doesn't look like an absolute menace went in here and did something. Clean this out, and wham bam. That is your Time Sert. That's how it's done. Hope you guys enjoyed.